drop.
Oh, hello, everyone. Welcome to BadMoms, Good Talks with BadMoms. Happy Monday. This little hand you see here is my little baby's. She's going to be here for a minute until father comes. Today, ladies and gentlemen, is not just another episode. It's more of a reckoning, I want to say. It's more about navigating grief and loss. And today's episode is centered around my friend Tatev. Yes, Tatev Safaryan. Sorry, baby makes it so difficult to concentrate, but we're going to work through it. Who lost her mother during the Spitak earthquake in 1988. And it was a very tragic loss. Many people lost family members, children, fathers, parents, mothers. And today's episode is specifically for those who lost their mothers and have found a way to navigate life with that loss on their shoulders. Tatev, thank you so much for joining. I mean, there's no good way to introduce something like that. And for you being a little girl to lose your mom at such a young age, we were 4 years old at that time. I mean, I remember the earthquake.
Right.
But to lose a parent, to lose a mom as a daughter, and then to have that follow you into your life and the decisions that you've made as a woman, as a mother, as a wife, as a daughter yourself. Tell us your experience. I know we're going to cut deep into this, but tell us that first experience as a child when you find out that mom is not coming home. I know I cut right into it, but
Oof.
Yeah, when you found out.
Okay. Well, first of all, Nar, thank you for having me. I appreciate the opportunity to voice what this feels, the trauma. For your question of the first moment, well, I was 4, to be honest. It was really difficult to even realize what death meant.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it was more of missing my mom not being there. So it felt like, okay, where is she? And how is life going to be like? I had no idea.
Yeah.
So I really didn't know death until I realized that it means never coming back.
You were waiting for her.
I definitely was waiting.
That's painful.
Yep.
And I said, we talking about it so matter-of-factly, but as a 4-year-old, you waiting for your mom to come home every single day until you realize that she's not coming, that's a devastating way to live. And then to come to terms with her not coming back. So who told you that she's not coming back?
Good question. So after the fact, whatever happened, the earthquake, and my dad, before even knowing that she was gone, told me that from Lennakan, we went to Abuvian real quick. They took us out. So we stayed at my aunt's house for some time. And my dad kept going back and forth. And during those first few days, he said, okay, I'm going to go get your mom and come back. Mm-hmm. That's the promise. He had no idea.
Yeah.
So upon, finding out that she's no longer with us, he had been stalling. He had been trying to he didn't know how he's going to break the news that she's not with him back. So he said I was just downstairs for about a few hours trying to figure out how am I going to break this news to my girl, my daughter, that her mom's not coming back anymore. But I had promised her that I'm going to go get her. So it was the broken promise first.
Yeah. You consider that a broken promise from your father?
Well, not anymore.
Yeah. Okay.
No. It was a broken promise then because as a child, it's trying to get something for your kid. You're promising something and they expect that to happen. So my expectation is mom is going to come back, and that's that. But that didn't happen, and I don't quite remember how I took that. But what the stories were is like, obviously I was devastated, and I just didn't know how to act anymore as a child. It's like the developmental stages that we go through to realize what death is, really.
Man, I mean, figuring out death as a child is one thing, but figuring it out on your own skin, meaning the feeling of loss on your own skin, is another as a child. All right, I want you to kind of express to us, I know I went in from the back end, but I want you to express to us why this is important for you to have this conversation today, right now. Because you reached out to me and said this is a good topic to talk about.
Right.
And I agree with you. I've experienced that loss that you have, of course, different times. But you tell us why you think this is important to talk about.
Well, I recently turned 40. And a few months after that, I felt like I was, going through a lot of changes internally. Mm-hmm. And I was having a lot of aha moments. And I felt like, what's wrong with me? There's a lot of things that I felt is wrong with me because I have different coping skills on different things than normal people have. Mm-hmm. So
when you say normal people, you mean people who aren't
majority,
who aren't traumatized?
Yes,
heavily,
heavily traumatized. Correct. So for me, that was like very an eye opener. Like, okay, I need to do this research because I feel like there's a lot of things wrong right now, and I was having a lot of emotions, anxiety, panic for no reason apparently. That nothing was really going on, but I would have anxiety, and I self-diagnosed myself to have like depression, but like high functioning depression where and the outside you don't see what's going on, like it feels normal, like she's having a great old time, but internally that's not the case. So it's a facade basically.
So you called out your own BS on your own life.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
You called out the BS, meaning you stopped letting the trauma lead you. You recognize the trauma and you like, I need to do something about this.
Like there is something wrong. And the reason, to answer your question, why I reached out to you, you've always been on my mind.
Yeah.
When it comes to mother loss, I felt like someone else that could resonate, unfortunately, is my friend Nar. Because it doesn't matter if you're 4, 20, or whatever you are, age, a mother loss is heavy, but when you're younger, it's different. You don't understand that very well.
It's different, but I feel like the pain and the absence is the weight of the absence is still the same.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah,
I do envy people who have had a chance to hear their mother's voice or to know what it feels like to have a conversation. Even in adulthood, I would never know that.
You're right. Sorry, making sure she's fine.
Yeah.
No, you're right, because I lost my mom at 22, and we had like a whole life together, and just having that person ripped out from you after experiencing all those lifetimes that we've experienced together, it's a incomparable feeling. The loss, but not having it is the same feeling of loss because you've not experienced it. So to experience it and then to lose it, I feel like is as heavy as not experiencing it in the first place, to even then have the chance to lose it and to feel the value of it, because you already know what the value is. That's why you long for that conversation.
Yeah, it's similar. It's very similar, to be honest. There's always that core void of like the missings. There's some part of you missing. That's what it is. Like there's always that missing part. Like it's incomplete.
The void, right?
Yes.
Sorry, 1 second. I gotta transfer the baby. She was doing fine down here, but You can take my phone too, just in case. Love you. Thank you, my daughter. I love saying that. Thanks. You're a mother.
Yes, I am.
You're a mother. You have a daughter. Your daughter is your everything. She is literally the reflection of you.
Yeah.
And that experience that you're having with her is the experience that you didn't get to have with your mom.
Right.
Tell us about this.
Oh, the milestones, right? Like when you're, for me, it's like going to school, the first day of school, graduating, college, marriage, having children. And then that every moment, like there's never a milestone that you never think about your mom.
Yeah.
You want her to be present. You want her to be there. When I had Lala and I knew it was a girl, automatically I'm like, okay, I'm firsthand going to feel this, like what it is to be a mother-daughter relationship. Because I've never had that. Yes, my grandma helped my dad raise me, my brother, but it's not the same.
Sure.
It's never going to be the same. No one ever takes their place. They can help. They can do all, give that love. But I think a mother's place is just a different. No one takes it. No one ever.
Well, you take the place of your mother.
Correct.
So I feel like sometimes when I look at my daughter and I'm feeding her, I think, is this how my mom was feeling or thinking when she was holding me?
I feel
and
the
so,
same.
yeah.
Yeah, I feel the same. Everything that we talk about, like going through, phases of life and different ages, it's like, okay, this must be how she felt. But then it came to an age where she was gone at 4, so everything stopped at 4 for me. So after that, it's like now it's just me again, alone, trying to figure it out.
Yeah. When did you feel that you were alone? Like all your life, or the awareness of the aloneness? When was that obvious to you?
I feel like I had a good childhood, but I really wasn't a child anymore. I was parentified really quick.
Yeah.
Like I felt that. I think around maybe 5 or 6 is when I was like, when after the earthquake, we moved to the States like 1 year later. So it's 1989 December. We're going from Armenia to Russia. It's snow. It's cold. It's dark. And then all of a sudden we're in LA and it's sunny, flowers blooming.
Bright.
Like it's bright. It's like a different, place. So I was taken from one place to another, not knowing the language, and then trying to figure that out. That's more traumatizing, I think. And then
the move. No one ever talks about the move.
Oh God.
Country to country. I always think about the move. Like when our parents went in 1990, I was 6 years old. I had relationships with people, all the aunts, all the uncles, all the cousins, and then you're looking at them crying at the airport, just sobbing. And you're like, what's going on? Like, why are you guys sobbing? You don't know. You're never going to come back.
You just don't know.
Yeah. But isn't that the case with everything?
Yeah, I think so. But it was so traumatizing because I feel like if I had stayed in the country, my trauma wouldn't be so bad because everyone suffered a loss.
Yeah.
So now
it would be shared.
It would be shared trauma. It would be shared losses because everybody had someone they knew, or I don't know. That's something I've been thinking about. But going back to like coming here, I felt like, okay, like I don't have my mom with me. I don't know what the language they're speaking. Everyone's different because there's all these cultures, right? We're in LA. And I'm pushed to go to first grade. And then like everyone's mom is saying goodbye and, taking them to school. And here I am like, where's mine? So
you felt out of place?
Oh, yeah. So the first year was really difficult. My first grade teacher, oh my God, Mrs. Miller in Glen Oaks Elementary. Oh my God. That lady, I was crying every day of school.
Okay. Was she awful?
No.
Oh, she was a godsend?
She was godsend. She was really patient with me.
Teachers back then were amazing. I don't know about you.
There's some good teachers nowadays too, but
I'm sure.
yeah, they were more empathetic.
Yes.
They were more empathetic and real, and just, she definitely was, and she helped me through. Somehow I was student of the month in first grade. Had 0 English, but I guess I was just quiet. So here is another thing with...
She was trying to encourage you.
Right.
Yeah.
I think that's brilliant.
Yeah.
That's like positive reinforcement right there. And that was something that I felt like, oh my God, I'm that good, really? Like I made progress. So
see what it does to you?
Yeah, it does a whole
that
lot.
encouragement. And that's another thing that we don't talk about. When people experience grief and loss, I feel like the encouragement stops. I'll tell you what, everyone wants to be understanding and everyone wants to give this space for you to grieve. But the encouragement stops because people don't know how to encourage you at a time like that. So they just don't. And they never really know how to approach it. So when you're talking about the shared grief, and I'm not talking about everybody. I'm just saying when you're talking about the shared grief, that's what you mean when you say, oh, I can talk to this person about the loss. That's why when you said, I think about you often, Narina, because you've also lost a parent.
Correct.
This is a person I could go and speak with about this. Did I move too much? So do go tell us about your lonely grieving. Because there are people here who have lost people at the Spitak earthquake. It's just, why aren't people talking about it with each other?
Because our culture does not like to talk about the 3 Ds we discussed.
Tell us the 3 Ds.
Divorce, death, and drugs.
Oh, yeah. They're the bane of our society.
So that's taboo. So back in the day when I was, everything just happened, even going to see a therapist, it was just never talked about.
It wasn't even suggested.
Never. No one said anything like, oh, God, maybe.
You'll be crazy.
Yeah, because my play was, this is how I played. I would go, a group of kids playing. I would go in, and within 5 minutes, I would be out on the sidelines. I did not want to play anymore. I was alone most of the time. And then when they would come and encourage me to go play again, I would get really mad. And I would throw a tantrum then. I would say, you know what? No, I said no, I don't want to play. So that's like, the children, how they play with their dolls. Sometimes that's what therapists do. Like they let them play and that's how they know how they're feeling.
Right.
So I felt alone. And it was internal. Externally, I might smile, laugh, whatever, and giggle. But internally, when I was put in situations of being in a crowd, I didn't fit in. That's how it felt like.
Yeah.
Because everyone has 2 parents, and here I am, like, always missing that one limb. Like, always. Part of you is gone.
That's crazy, because as a kid, you don't, I feel blessed for being able to experience whatever I'm experiencing. I always try to be careful how I say things now, because it's so important how you word things. But being a child and going through that, not having ability to label what you're going through, not having a support around, people are afraid to give advice as far as going to get help, therapy, even at home therapy. Nobody's doing it because nobody knows.
Right.
So I don't even want to imagine the loneliness that you actually felt, because you just felt like nobody got you.
Yeah. Nobody did.
Yeah.
Even as much as people, of course, there was family that was supportive, that were there,
But
always
what does
coming
supportive
by.
mean?
Well, for them, it seems like if we're here around and we're just like,
making coffee.
yeah, like being in, in that environment where there's people and the family's not feeling alone, isolated, that meant like, okay, we're supporting. But in actual, I've never had the talk with anyone that would sit and say, hey, is there something you want to talk about? It was more like, hush, hush, I felt like I shouldn't cry. I was holding myself because I don't want people to be sad around me.
Yeah.
That because of me, they're going to be be sad because a part of me felt guilty for my mom's death. A part of me felt like, why didn't I cry that morning so she stayed home?
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
I could have cried. I could have thrown a tantrum. I could have done so much, but that's my little brain thinking, right? And then it came that stage of, okay, I felt like she abandoned me. And I felt like, oh, maybe she is alive. And what if she just lost consciousness and now she has a whole family? All these things are going through my little mind. I had no idea that I was like...
A telenovela writer at 6 years old?
Yeah, I guess so. So anyway, like that's how I felt, like abandoned. And then I felt resentment. And then there came the stage of adolescence where I felt like, I think I should just forget about it. And a lot of people would tell me, oh my God, you look so much like your mom. You look so much like your mom. You have her. And I felt like I shouldn't be. And I'm like, don't say that. No, I'm not. I shouldn't be. So that's when things got a little wild with me and inside me that I'm just going to not be that kid that's on the side. I'm just going to go and be the president of the Armenian club in high school.
Yeah.
And I'm going to be all this stuff. And I'm just not going to be what she, you know, was portrayed to be. So I don't know. I don't know her. I know of her. So that's the hardest part for me to
You don't know her with your own experience. You know her through other people's accounts of her, and it's not enough.
It's not enough. It's like seeing is believing, you know?
Yeah.
It's like until you're not there, you don't know. It's like talking about Paris. Like I really want to see the Eiffel Tower so I could feel that thing, right? So it's like with the same with my mom. It's like talking about her was not enough. Like, and back in the day, who had video? Nobody had that stuff. You know, with technology nowadays, everybody has everything saved on their phone, like a million pictures of that one year. But we didn't have that. I don't have anything that I could go off of. Like, of course, there's photos. Of course, there's stuff like that. But I feel like families should talk about death. And families should talk about divorce and all the other bad things that happen because it happens. And once it happens, everyone panics. Everyone doesn't know what to do with it anymore. And that's where I feel like as a culture, we should grow having that in mind. That's the only way we could grow. And that's why I felt like having a platform like so and, you know, being able to express how that feels. Even now, we look at the children of Artsakh that lost a parent. Who's helping them?
Emotionally, you mean?
Well, emotionally, they're all sharing the trauma, of course. That's another big thing. But I feel like nowadays we have this technology where people can reach out from the States and even have a live, you know, psychologist talking to that. But there's a part of me that says that, you know, parents, when they lose a spouse or something that is like so dear to their family, someone that is dear, they should have that talk openly. Let the kid cry. Let the kid talk and draw pictures. Maybe, I don't know, something like of that sort where it's more the kid expressing themselves. Not that my family didn't allow that. It's just I felt responsible for sadness around me. So I didn't want to create sadness around me because at times, of course, my grandma, I would see her sobbing and she would wipe away her tears real quick because she didn't want to do the same thing I didn't want to do, right?
Yeah.
So you know how moms were like, if we're feeling a certain way, we go and cry in the bathroom or whatever it is. And then we're like, okay, we're fine. We're fine. We just need to get this out. But as a kid, we don't know that. We don't know that.
I mean, when you saw your grandma crying, this was after you already knew she was gone or before? Yeah. And did you feel resentment towards your grandma when you saw her crying?
No.
What did you feel?
Sadness.
Okay.
I was just in a full-blown emotion of sadness. And then December is my most hated month.
Yeah.
And as that would roll around, I would get anxious. December 1st already, I was getting anxious as it's leading to December 7 because we gather as a family. We remember, you know, the loss and everything. And then the talks, it's like, okay, now everyone's talking about the earthquake and everyone's talking about what they witnessed and how they felt. And there came a time where I just didn't want to be in that room anymore. And I just didn't want to be around
No, finish your thought.
That's
Well,
it.
here's the thing that's interesting. You want someone to talk to, but you don't want them to talk about the event. You want to talk about your loss, your experience of the
Personally,
loss,
yeah.
the person who you lost that was near and dear to you. But you don't want to be constantly reminded.
No, Mother's Day was hell. Mother's Day at school, you know, how we have to create projects, Mother's Day cards, this and that. So
Were you the only one in class
Yeah.
that did not have a mom?
I was. I was. That's, I mean, that's a huge loss for a child. And if there were any more, we would know about it.
Right.
So this was like, no, there wasn't anyone else in the class. But yeah, Mother's Day sucked.
How do you envision indemnifying those children? So, making them whole. There's nothing that can replace their mother.
No.
1,000%. That loss is deep.
Yeah.
But there is a way to make their souls whole again, because we understand Jesus' teaching. He says suffering is there. You know, suffering is there, but it's our understanding of the suffering that helps us bear it all. So children who don't have their moms at school, how do we make them whole? Like, did they try to, I don't know, include an event at school? I mean,
No.
what do you imagine doing? What will you do for kids?
Oh, God, it's a loaded question. Honestly, you can never be whole. After losing a mother, you could never be whole. You can try to cope with it and find ways to cope with it, but there's never a cure. There's treatments.
You don't think you can ever become whole after a loss of a
No.
parent? Well, I mean, I disagree with that. I disagree with that because I found wholeness after becoming a parent. After becoming a parent, not just when I became a parent, after becoming a parent, like during the years of parenting, I understood that that's what I'm supposed to do. That's what makes me feel whole, like to live the life of a parent
Right.
for these children. You know, make myself available, and by making myself available means I'm going to be aware of my health.
Correct.
Like my mom was, she didn't die of an accident. She died of parasites, aka cancer.
Right.
We didn't know how to deal with it then, and we lost her. Right. She didn't know how to deal with it. She lost herself. And who loses in the middle but the family who lives after her? So then when you have kids, you're like, dude, I'm not trying to be that person who gives this grief to my family because of like unawareness of myself. And I'm not putting any blame on anybody for getting cancer and being, but that's just an unawareness of self when you contract any kind of disease. I feel like that's my perception.
But things do happen quickly and they progress quickly. Sometimes you just don't know you have it, and people lose their lives within a month, even weeks of cancer, finding out they have cancer. So
It's unawareness, I feel like.
it could be.
It's harsh to say because nobody wants to be called unaware when you're battling cancer.
No.
It's very harsh to say, but knowing what we know now, and it's more obvious what we know now about cancer industry, it'll still be considered unawareness if we don't prevent these things from happening to us.
There's some truth to that. I agree. But sometimes no matter how healthy, how much you take care of yourself, there is always something. There's always something.
Well, when you're
that
unaware,
happens.
I promise you, it's always unawareness. I promise.
It could be.
You always know when something's hurting. You always know when something's not right. You always have that feeling. And just a lot of our problems in our communities is the fact that they don't take care of themselves in advance and only go after it's bore its head wide open, that illness.
Right.
And then we scramble, like, what should we do? Well,
Is it cultural, though?
yeah, I feel like it is. I feel like it's very cultural.
Is it maybe generational trauma that our Armenian culture has endured throughout the years and thousands of years? And
I mean, we could keep excusing it.
we can, but I mean, we would need a lot of therapists in that case.
I just think we need Jesus as a life coach. I'm telling you, as a life coach, you need the number one life coach, JC.
Right, but how is that going to cure an ailment?
No, it is. It is.
I'm sure your mom had Jesus in her life.
No, she didn't. She did not.
And a lot of people that do have cancer do. So there's this thing where when it came to religion for me,
it's not religion though.
That's where I lost it as a child.
Tell us.
I lost my belief in religion because I felt like if I pray hard enough, she might come back. If I do this.
Yeah, but your belief is conditional. That's why it doesn't work.
See, that's why the difference between a small child losing a parent is when you don't know.
Right.
And then opposed to like when you're older, you understand, there's what happens. I feel like when you're older and you lose a parent, doesn't matter. Like after a certain age where you do realize what death is when you lose a parent, most people go to the Bible, they go to the church, and they go to, reading scriptures, and that calms them down. But as a 4-year-old, I didn't know how to read.
Right.
I didn't know how to, do all of that. And I have a parent that's dealing with the loss of a wife. And, so he's young himself. He's 28. So he's a single father at 28, widowed. He was a fatherless son. So he grew up being a fatherless son. And my grandfather was killed. So he never had a chance to know his dad.
Wow. At a young age.
8 months. 8 months. So he never.
Look at the loop.
Yes. So that's scary. So that was kind of like in my mind. I'm like, okay, as I was approaching my mom's age of 27. So she died at 27.
Oh my God.
And she was buried on her birthday when she was turning 28.
Oh my God.
So it was December 7, her death, December 14, her burial. And look at us today. Today's the 14th at 7 o'clock. She's with us. So that's when I saw the ad today. I was like looking at the numbers, and I'm very spiritual when it comes to the numbers and numerology.
She believes the numbers, but she ain't gonna.
Yes.
Jesus not it yet. It's okay. It's the way to Jesus. I promise.
It's the numbers. I tell you. See, see, it's her way of saying, "Hey, I'm here."
I believe that, and they're always with us. Yeah. They're always with us, and that's why it's so important for you to feel whole. Because that's going to dictate your parenting for your daughter. The way you, not that you already show up. Oh, yeah. Don't get me wrong. Oh, yeah. You already show up. But the mentality and the way that you speak to yourself about the things that you're experiencing, it'll exude differently in your life.
I don't feel incomplete. I'll say that as an adult. I don't feel incomplete. But there is this core emotion, and perhaps because I never got to know her, is what is missing. It's like the longing of having, that one full day conversation of some kind of, even let it be argument, whatever it is. Yeah. I've never had an argument, I think. I've never argued with my mom, I could say, because I never did. I never.
Do you and Lala argue?
Of course we do. It's inevitable.
There, have one on her behalf.
Oh, we do argue. We do. We laugh. We argue. We joke a lot. Having a good sense of humor. I think that's what humor is, the number one cure for a lot of things. So having a good sense of humor in the dark times, or knowing that things are just temporary. All emotions are temporary, and it'll pass. So one thing that stuck to me with, I'm sure you know Gabor Mate.
Yes.
Yeah, the psychotherapist. Mm-hmm. He says, trauma is not what happened to you. It's the result. It's what happened inside you as a result of what happened to you.
Right.
So when you realize that it was internally, that you're facing all this alone internally, nobody really knows you. So go back to your
nobody
question,
really knows you.
No. I don't even know myself. I think that shaped me, because having a mom in your life kind of puts you on tracks of, how things are in life and how
you have a role model.
Yes. But for me not having that, always searching for that role model.
Yeah.
And then not finding someone that really stuck to me was like, of course, my grandma, but she's 3 generations, out there. So I'm like, okay, I can't talk certain things with my grandma. She just wouldn't understand. But maybe she would. I just never got myself to that.
You never allowed
courage
yourself to
talk to my grandma in certain ways. And then, because I'm like, I thought maybe she would never understand. Like our kids feel like, okay, they'll never know. Like, I feel like some things they hold back because they think we will not understand, but they just never share that. And that's where I felt like, okay, I'm alone. And that's where I reached out. And I'm like, you know what, Nar? I feel like there's a lot of kids that will never find that therapist because they will not resonate.
Yeah.
That therapist needs, for me, it would be someone that has felt the same pain that I felt to understand exactly what I'm going through and to put me on the trail of like, okay, now we're going to get you back. I want someone to show me the way.
Yeah.
So that's what I needed.
Right.
So to answer your question of children, what would make them whole is maybe if there were therapists that actually have gone through that for real.
Yeah. No, it's circling back to what you were saying earlier, to have that shared experience. So then that way you feel like that person in front of you is going to understand when you tell them, hey, I have like this deep, deep pain that is like right here. Bam. And I can't get it out. And the person who has been able to get it out can help that child get it out. Because that bottling up that we do when we think no one understands us, that causes the illnesses that I'm talking about.
Yeah.
So that's the unawareness that I'm talking about. That we need to give people tools to be able to dissect what they're feeling as well. So that way they can not bottle it up, have someone to discuss this with, have healthier outlooks on relationships, have healthier outlooks on holidays. You know what I'm saying? Because those happy events inadvertently turn to sad events for you.
Yeah.
No matter what, because you did not have the understanding that some adult could have given to you to hold on to. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
That was the water.
Oh. The baby's not here yet.
No, baby's been long gone. Yes, go on.
That's where I feel like for me now, as an adult, how has this
shaped
me? Or, I wouldn't even call it shaping. I don't even know what the actual word is.
I'll ask you.
Yeah.
How do you feel about reliability on other people?
Oh, trust, you mean?
Reliability.
Or...
Reliability. Like, are you the guy that gets everything done yourself because you can't rely on anyone?
No. Yep.
Yeah.
No, I can't trust anyone to get things done the way I need to get it done. So I'm always the one in control, trying to control a situation. I'll do this myself. I don't need anybody kind of thing.
Yeah.
I got this. Yeah. Independence is what I became. I became independent real quick. I became a mother figure without being a mother. I became that person that people can go to for advice, but she doesn't know what to do with herself kind of person. And then I became the person with anxious attachment styles where, I would feel I would get an anxiety if someone doesn't reply back from a time that I'm expecting a reply. And that's what prompted me to go deep. I'm like, what is this? Why am I anxious? Like, don't I have other things to do?
Yeah.
That's what it prompted me to look into. What am I going through? What are these stages? Let me go back because I feel like my childhood hasn't made a full circle yet. And it hasn't. And I feel like I still have that little girl in me that is crying for help, that wants attention, that is craving some sort of validation from a mom. And now I'm the mom that I need to cure my own self.
I'm constantly looking for an auntie or like a older woman figure or an auntie figure, like unconsciously. I'm not even like, oh, that person will make a great aunt or a great unconsciously. Like I look for that in people.
Right.
When I encounter them. They don't know that I'm doing that either, Yeah. So that longing that you're talking about, no matter how old you are, that you lose your parent or how old your parent is, I feel like when you have that closeness, or when you want to have that closeness, that longing is going to exist.
So that answered your own question.
Yeah.
That, no, you can't be whole because you're always searching. You're always going to be searching for that mother figure that is going to give you that advice. You know, so many things happen in our lives where, in my own life, that I felt like, okay, I wish I got my mother's advice right now. What would she think? So it's always this question of, I'm in a constant loop. Mm-hmm. What would she think? How would she feel? How would she do this? I wonder. It's always the wondering.
And do you pick finally from all the wondering you're doing, like what you would do?
According from like my family's, information from how she was like as a person, her personality, character, I go based off of that.
Because that's you, bro.
I guess. I guess.
I mean, like, we are reincarnations sort of each other in the living world.
Yes.
You know, we're all Adam and Eve. We're all just repetitions. So if you would do what you would do, I bet she would do the same thing.
But would she? That was the question.
You can have the thought, you know? Yeah. So like maybe the coping mechanism is that.
Yeah.
Is that dialogue you have with her internally, like, hey, what would mother do?
Yeah.
And you cope with that. Like, I'm doing what my mom would do. And if she wouldn't do that, then I will teach her how to do it this way, because this is the better way to do it.
Perhaps. Yeah, you're right.
You know?
Yeah. I agree.
I used to have like dreams about my mom, and we go shopping. I knew she was dead in my dream, and she knew she was dead. And it's like, it was the middle ground where we would meet and have conversations. We'd go shopping for food. We'd like go home goods and stuff. And then at the end, I'd be like, oh, I miss you, Mom. And I'd give her a hug. And I'd wake up crying. And that was just how like I cope with having my mom not there. It makes me sad. And I want to challenge you to say that you can be whole and still have longing for the people who you love, who you miss, who you want to touch, who you want to hug, who you want to share a cup of coffee with. Mm-hmm. So that wholeness doesn't go away just because you long for that person. You know, you long to love them.
Right.
So the feeling of wholeness actually helps you cope.
It's a feeling.
As is everything.
Yeah, it's a feeling. It's a feeling that is acquired.
Yeah.
It's an acquired feeling that you have to practice.
After awareness.
Yes.
See how you did? You became aware of your anxiety, and you started applying, why am I doing this to myself?
Right.
Let me learn some things about myself and change things about myself.
Yeah, because as a child, I was very empathetic. I had a very deep emotional connection with people going through grief, sadness. I was always the friend that always stuck to other people where there was sadness.
You wanted that.
I felt like maybe I'm a better healer because they'll probably never find one like me. That's my thought, right? And that's how it felt like, because I wanted to be what I never had.
Yes, for sure.
So I'm not blaming anybody here. It's just everyone was coping with the loss of someone so important in our family.
For sure.
Everyone on their own terms was, grieving the loss. And I mean, my brother's experience is different than mine. He was a baby, but still, like, it's a loss. You don't have
There's
that.
A person who you share that with. Do you guys talk about it?
We do. We did. But sometimes there's a depth, like a line that you don't want to get to, where it gets more emotional. So I've kind of been like picking at it with him lately. So we're like, hey, like, how did you feel at school when this happened? And I kind of want to crack open the can, the worms. I was so scared for the longest time. I was in fear of, the deeper you go, the more you dig and you find out, right? So I felt like, I don't know what I'm going to find out about myself, or I don't know what I'm going to find out of how I'm feeling. Am I going to be able to live with what I'm going to find out as far as emotions I'm talking about? Because this is strong. This is deep. As a child, you don't know at that point. But when you're an adult having all this research technology you could go into and, look into all that, it's like scary. It's scary. And when I got into ChatGPT, I'm like, oh my God. I don't know if I'm going to have to listen to this podcast or this YouTube channel or, some book. I've been reading a lot about it. It's been an eye-opener. But at the same time, I'm like, do I really want to be in this deep into it?
And the answer is yes.
Yes, I do. Absolutely, I do. Because I don't know
What's the alternative? It was what you had, the anxiety.
Alternative is having the anxiety, the panic, the trauma. I don't know.
Build up.
Yeah, all of that. It's like the unknown, not knowing.
The unawareness.
Unawareness and all of that. That you're just not aware of your own childhood, of what happened inside of you. Like the earthquake happened exteriorly.
Outside of you.
But inside, there's another earthquake that is just with aftershocks. Every year, some milestone happens. You have a child. You have this. You do that. Some happy news you want to share. Some sad news you want to share. You're getting triggered all the time. Those don't go away. I'm
Your
sure
community.
You felt that. I'm actually. I have to say this before I forget. When I found out you were having a daughter, you have no idea how happy I was for you. Like from afar. I was so happy because I'm like, she's going to have that girl, mother-girl bond.
It's a different bond,
it's
for
different.
sure.
It's different. With my son, I'm different. With my daughter, I'm different. I'm just a different parent for both.
I mean, I tell everyone, Emma's my favorite person right now. Don't even be mad at me.
Well,
no, she's amazing. And I named her after my mom. We actually named her after both grandmas to honor them. Passed away and alive, but it is an amazing bond that mothers and daughters share together. We look to them for our guidance, and when they're not here, we find ourselves feeling more orphaned. Even though we both have our fathers, fathers are also orphaned after their wives
leave,
after their wives die. Yeah, because they don't know, they weren't the ones running the show, emotional show. Yeah. And so that's why it took your dad so long to tell you. And that maybe that's why he avoided talking about it. Maybe that's why he, was distant at times that he was. And, he was just hoping that you do good for the sake of you both.
Yeah, just pray and hope things are going to be all right. Yeah. That's something that I think it's the more male, like in our culture, we teach guys not to cry.
Yeah.
So that's another thing that I wish I did see him cry sometimes. Like I would feel that, but
the softness.
Yeah. The softness.
It would have made you softer.
It would. Maybe we would have a conversation.
Do you find yourself being more rigid in life about like showing, obviously, showing emotion where we're like Wednesday Addams, wearing black.
Very much so. We are Wednesday Addams, seriously.
I didn't own one black clothing until my mom passed away, and I had to go to Ross and do some shopping because I was getting shit talked to for not wearing black.
Well, it's one of my favorite colors. As a color,
it's the only
people
color.
Don't consider it color or whatever, but I think it's a color. It distinguishes from the other colors. But I feel like I have this very serious face all the time. I'm like the
It's called an RBF.
M&M. Yep. Alrighty then. RBF.
RBF, that's what it's
so
called.
So it's like, always the M&M of the family, just very serious, just very like, unapproachable.
Yeah. Eminem is pretty emo too, though.
He is off camera. He could be off camera, but yeah, that's just me. I mean, but I feel like, no, I do have emotions, and I could, let it out.
I could let it out, but I'm not gonna.
Don't. I choose not to, but I do let it out. Sometimes I have to feel comfortable around certain people. I'm very picky who I'm emotional with. I'm very picky who I'm open with. I'm very selective with my emotions. I guard it like no tomorrow. I can't fully open up. Well,
when you give it to Jesus, you totally can open up. and you don't have to guard a thing. One thing. Jesus is not going to hurt you, and I'm not going to push him on you because he ain't even cheap. You know what I'm saying? This is something that you have to come to terms with and learn about him through him and his teachings. It's just a matter of teachings. Like it's not just because it's Jesus Christ. It's because of the philosophy and the principles of life that he teaches that will help you in your life, maneuver life. Just it's so clear. And so you don't have to feel like you're guarding your emotions. Trust me, I've been there where you are, telling another friend I'm guarding my emotions.
Yeah.
But what I was really doing was blocking a lot of love and light coming into my heart. And well, you have to crack open your heart a little so the light comes through.
It's cracked.
Yeah.
It's cracked, but it's not fully
Yeah, it's fine.
there yet. And I feel like when it comes to that, I feel like I really need to feel and be ready for certain things in my life to let even to let that sort of thing in me, because for some reason I'm guarding myself. Like I feel like I have just me to guard my emotions, and that's how it's gonna be. So that's how it feels like currently. So how things will turn out later, I can't guarantee anything. Things can flip, and one day I know I'm different, but there's no guarantee. I can't say anything when it comes to that. But I have no disrespect for people who do that. So the more power to what you believe in, to what you feel, that's your way of coping with your loss, and that's your way of being whole, as you say, then more power. Some people see it in different things, in trees and animals and, nature, where I feel like I'm more grounded with nature, of being out there, which I'm sure is part of, religion and practice. But that's where I feel more grounded with nature.
Jesus loved nature.
I know.
And by the way, I was an atheist.
I know.
And only 3 years ago, I understood what the way and the life and the truth is. And it's not because I believed in the universe. I called it the universe. I believed in nature. I called it nature. I said, oh, let me read this book and that self-help and this one and that one. And all of those are amazing tools to help you build your spiritual life. Honestly, they're all, and when you get deeper into it, all of these books are all based on Jesus's on messianic principles, really, on teachings from Christ, from the Bible. So it's all rooted in that. And as somebody that was making fun, that was disrespecting Christianity, that was disrespecting the idea of religion, you get humbled real quick when you understand it's none of the things that you thought it was. Like none of it. It's so much life principle that people who don't follow it are actually just going around in circles, in my opinion and experience.
Got you.
Yeah.
I hear you, Nar. I totally understand where you're coming from and how that kind of what changed you? Here, let me ask you that question. Why did you do that?
I understood my role as a parent better.
What's the first thing you did?
Honestly, 2020 got around because I wasn't the best parent either. I had gone through a divorce and, moved my kids out. Like, it's very taboo thing, the divorce, one of the 3Ds. And everybody abandoned me. Nobody came to help me. My friends who were my friends for like years and years literally stopped talking to me. It's like, bro, weren't you telling me to get a divorce? You're the one telling me to get a divorce. Where are you? And so when you understand, like, okay, all of this, I did that. And then 2020 comes around, COVID hits, and then they're trying to mask up your kids. And you're like, we met at your house with Satik.
Yep. We had talks.
And then when my kid got kicked out of the school because of the mask mandate, because I wasn't following it, I was like, screw this. Like, what am I doing? What am I doing? I need to be more intentional as a parent. And so I started being more intentional as a parent.
What does that mean?
Everything. I started understanding my mistakes that I'm making as a parent. I started becoming more accountable as a parent. I started letting my children see the mistakes I make, and then I tell them how the
Not to do it.
not to do it. Yeah, for sure, because you can be a good role model and you could be a role model of what not to do, and all of those things are things that your children are learning from you. So when I'm more aware and I'm more intentional and I'm more focused and I'm less interested in what the outside noise is and more interested in how I'm raising my kids internally they're raising me too. You know, it's not just
It's two ways.
Yeah, they're raising me too. And so learning when I see the response and the result, it fuels your fire more. And then even when you don't see the result of your efforts, you still got to keep going. So everything is intentional. Nothing is by accident. I want to be healthier for my kids, where I want them to be healthier, you know, so everything is intentional. Whatever that means for you. Like, I can't say go do this and that, unless you're trying to do it exactly like me. But the one thing I can say is really be consistent with your children. They notice everything. They notice everything and they remember everything. And inconsistency is one of the fastest ways you can ruin a child's relationship with you.
Correct. I agree with you. 100%. I agree.
So I could say that. Be consistent with your children.
Yeah. That's the message.
Don't be a consistent asshole, but be
an inconsistent asshole, but okay.
Inconsistently be an asshole. No.
Take breaks.
Yeah. Is there something that you want the audience to know about your next steps, your next moves? Because we talked about what you want to do as far as being a beacon of light and hope for those who might need you.
Correct. So I have been, like I said, reading a lot about this topic where I'm just learning about myself. I feel like until I don't feel like I'm ready and I've learned enough, but we're always learning every day. I feel like once I feel ready for that, I do want to eventually be that person for those children, unfortunately, who have lost a parent, especially with girls, where I can relate and be more understanding of their loss and, you know, help them with that situation however much I can, because it's very important. It shapes you as an adult. It's a different world when you get older, and it will always be there. It's gonna pop out one day, and just like me, you're gonna feel it. That, oh my God, what's wrong with me? Like, no, I think I'm the problem. And I think a lot of people should be looking internally, seeing where their mistakes and what their problems might be.
Yeah,
only
self-awareness.
Our narcissist doesn't know what that is, but other people should know that, hey, you know, maybe what is my contribution to my agony? How do I contribute to my problem? And 100%. How am I helping? You know, what should I do to help myself? So I feel like once a child goes through that development stages and understands, and it'll take time. It doesn't go away fast. It'll take time.
So I want to challenge you right before we're about to end the podcast. I want to challenge you to do an event, and I'll collaborate with you on this.
Okay.
We could you came to the paint event with Lala. We can organize a paint night for adolescent kids and sit with them, do the painting, and then talk about the painting as far as, you know, their experience of their grief, of their loss. And I feel like you are very equipped to guide these children because you've experienced it. So keep it simple is what I'm trying to say. These kids want to have somebody to listen to them and to talk to. That's it.
And cry with.
Consistent basis.
Yes. Until
they smooth it out.
Until they're ready to, you know, fly away. That's fine. So I agree. Let's do it.
Let's do it. You heard it here first, y'all. We're going to have a paint event, a punch and paint, like high C. Punch, yeah. Okay. Not wine and paint. Punch and paint. We'll think of the name later.
We'll do the wine part.
Yeah, we'll do the wine part prior. If you are a child, or you're probably not watching this if you're a child, but if you know someone who's a child and has lost a parent and needs this grief counseling, even just in the community scenario, it doesn't have to be a one-on-one private session in the office of a psychologist. It could be in a setting where they're painting, they're talking with other children, and they have the guidance of those who have also lost their parents and can easily guide your children into a softer healing, I suppose. Yeah, because Lord knows we needed that. Yeah.
We did. We needed it. I wish there was something like that for us.
And there might have been, but we just didn't know. But if there is now, it's us that are going to be the guys that are going to do this. Okay. So I challenge you to not spend any more time waiting for the perfect moment and to just create the perfect moment.
You got it, girl. Let's do it.
Thank you so much for joining us today. This is a very important topic that does not get enough airtime. You're right. And I don't think there's such a thing as enough airtime. But this is a good start.
Absolutely. I agree. Thank you for having me, Nar. I appreciate it. I think this is a great start for something new that would, get something going for these kids that need someone like an ear or someone to cry with, really, like literally cry with. And I don't mind doing that at all.
You heard her here first. She doesn't mind crying with you. So if you need a shoulder and a tissue, she's got one ready for you.
Come on.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Fist bump. Love you. I've known her since high school, you guys. It's amazing.
Yes.
Love having caught up with you since then. So thank you, everyone, for watching. Please share this episode with anyone who you think might benefit from it. If you want to contact Tatev, I'll put the handle on our reel, and you can contact Tatev and see how we can get you guys going with this event.
Thank you, Narjan. I appreciate it.
Have a good one, y'all. See you next Monday.
Let it drop. Let it drop.